Never know if it's going to work. So that's why I don't like to say anything until it works. I think it's going. I think it's going. Okay. Welcome. Episode 292 today. And we are talking about diabetic cardiomyopathy. I want to just make mention here that Dr. Saunders is a wonderful doctor, but he is not your doctor. And so we just ask that you consult with your healthcare provider before you implement any of the things that we are talking about today. Okay. So I'm excited to dig into this. If you have questions that come up along the way, we'd love for you to post those in the Q&A. That's kind of just the best place for us to manage all of those questions. If you're on YouTube, comment in the chat. We'd love to hear from you as well. Uh, First of all, let me look in the chat right here because we got some people hopping on that I want to see where they're from. Okay, Dan is here from Ohio. We have Ricardo. Hello, Ricardo. And from Centerville, Virginia. Centerville, yeah. And Terry and hi from Terry, Eve. It's scrolling as I'm talking, and so I can't catch the words fast enough. I know Terry and Eve though, so I know that it said that. They're back, which we're glad to have you here. Janet is here. Elliot's back. All right. R is here from Johnson City. Frank's here, Canada. And Carol's back. Nancy, hello from Pueblo, Colorado. All right, lots of you, Randy, Lori, Iman, Donna. You know what? I will type the title in there. That's a great idea. Hello, Catherine. How are you? Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, what is diabetic cardiomyopathy?
Okay, what a great topic. We've never really discussed this,
Mm-mm.
and it's really important. So, diabetic cardiomyopathy is where the heart isn't functioning. That's cardiomyopathy. So, cardio is heart, myo is muscle, apathy means there's something wrong. So, there's something wrong with the heart muscle. That's literally what the word means. So, what is the syndrome? What is it? Well, if somebody has diabetes and their heart isn't working right, and there's no other explanation for why their heart isn't working, so they don't have cardiovascular problems, they don't have any other known cardiomyopathy, they don't have viral illness in their heart, they don't. Diabetic cardiomyopathy is diagnosed when somebody has diabetes, their heart isn't working, and there's no other explanation. There's no infection, there's no heart disease, there's no vascular disease. So why is that? Well, it's because it's a diagnosis of exclusion, and you exclude everything else, and then if nothing else shows up, they go, "Oh, it must be diabetic cardiomyopathy." Well, what is that? Okay, so there's two issues with the heart. What's cardiomyopathy? One is an inflammatory issue, inflammation. So some people they get an infection, they have a virus, they have some other kind of inflammation. The other is energy. So if you have an energy problem, then that means the mitochondria are not functioning, and that can be from toxins, from nutrient deficiencies, from oxygen deficiency. If you're not getting enough blood flow, the blood vessels are constricted, and you're not getting blood flow to the heart, then you're not getting enough oxygen. You can't make enough energy. Or if you have diabetes. And what happens when you have type 2 diabetes? This is really important because this is one of the reasons we discuss this so much. And the reasons we're talking about this is it's not a sugar problem. Think about it. If you have a heart muscle that is lacking in energy, what do you want to give it? Energy. So what do you do? How do you give it energy? What? Give it sugar, right? That glucose. That's what it runs on, right? So that would make perfect sense. So if you have type 2 diabetes, your blood sugar is always high, always high, always high. There's a lot of sugar around. So why would the heart be lacking in energy? Doesn't make any sense until you understand one thing, and that is that 60% of the energy for your heart comes from fat. And when you have insulin resistance, you can't burn fat. So your heart energy drops by 60% just because you have insulin resistance. That's why we don't talk about blood sugar. Blood sugar is not your problem. Insulin resistance is your problem. And that's the thing about cardiomyopathy in diabetes. Now, it's called diabetic cardiomyopathy because it has nothing else. But if you have type 2 diabetes, it contributes to all the other problems with cardiomyopathy. So if you happen to have a virus gets into your heart, it's going to be more of a problem because you have diabetes. If you're toxic on lead or mercury or something, you're going to drop your energy, and it's going to be worse because you have diabetes. And if you have constricted blood vessels because you have atherosclerosis and hardening of the arteries, it's going to be worse because of your diabetes. So no matter what else you have, you still have diabetic cardiomyopathy because the amount of energy of 60% of your energy comes from fat and 40% from glucose. So you get insulin resistance, you take away, you can't use fat. Now all you have is that. So you've dropped the amount of energy that your heart can have. That's why it's so important to get the insulin resistance down or to improve insulin sensitivity. And that's what the whole diabetes solution kit is about. It's about how do you get more insulin sensitivity? And that's what we do. So this is how it works. You have a heart muscle cell, and the heart muscle cell does not store energy. Instead of having energy storage, it has more mitochondria. So 40%, you have this muscle cell, 40% of that cell is filled with mitochondria. What is that? Mitochondria is the little bacteria in your cells, and they're really tiny compared to a cell. Um, Gosh, what would be the equivalent? If you had, let's say you had like a dinner plate and you put one pea on it. That's a mitochondria, and the dinner plate would be the size of a cell, right? And then one pea on it would be. So you can imagine, you can dump peas on there, and you can have half your plate filled with peas. That's essentially what's going on in these heart muscle cells. And when you limit the amount of energy to them, then you decrease the number of mitochondria. So now instead of having thousands of mitochondria in there, you only have a couple thousand or hundreds. And is hundreds of mitochondria great? Yeah, most cells in your body have one, two, three, maybe four mitochondria in the whole cell, creating the energy to allow things to function. It's the heart, though, that can't stop. All the other cells, if you're lifting heavy weights and your muscles get tired, you go, I gotta rest. Your heart can't say that. Your heart can't go, gosh, I need a rest. Let's just lay down for 10 minutes, right? See, yeah, exactly. So now you have a picture. The cell with that little teeny mitochondria, it's like a pea in the size of a plate.
Yep.
And inside a muscle cell, there's thousands of them. So, um, if you have fewer mitochondria, then it tires out and it can't go as fast and it takes longer to relax. And it's still going. The heart muscle doesn't stop, but it doesn't go as fast. So, what happens is you have different muscle cells going at different rates depending on how much mitochondria, how much energy they have. And then you get something called atrial fibrillation. That's also because of the lack of energy in the heart, in the heart muscle. So it's essentially the same problem, the same underlying problem can create different syndromes depending on what's going on and how it's functioning. So if your systems of the propagation of the energy through the muscle is messed up, then you'll get atrial fibrillation. Otherwise, you get what's called cardiomyopathy, and that is the heart doesn't relax very well because it takes energy to relax a muscle. A muscle cell, a heart muscle cell, is kind of like a mousetrap. You have to set the mousetrap. So you set the mousetrap, and then all you have to do is just touch it, and bam, it goes, right. That's what a heart muscle cell does. When the electrical impulse comes by, first it resets and then waits, and then the impulse comes by. Electrical impulse just taps it and it goes bam, and then it has to reset again, and it takes longer to reset. And the if it takes longer to reset and the impulse comes by, it's not set yet. It's not going. It's not ready to go. And then as soon as another one neighbor goes, then it goes, and then another one goes, and another one goes, and that's called atrial fibrillation. So that's and if it's taking longer to reset, then it may not work completely. So it might work partially. So people get cardiomyopathy. So if you do an ejection fraction, it's called, and that's how much blood is being pumped each time your heart works. So your heart pumps, and it normally pumps about 65% of the blood out. And if you have cardiomyopathy, it's only pumping maybe 50%. 50% is actually considered normal. 45%, 40%, 30%. I've had somebody 20%. So every time his heart beats, it only goes like this. Just a little bit of the blood pumps out. It's not pumping the whole thing out. It's only pumping a little bit of it. So it has to pump more times to get the blood circulating, because it those muscle cells can't relax completely. So cardiomyopathy from diabetes is reversible. That's the other thing about it. So other types of cardiomyopathy, so often from like viruses. Viruses damage the cells, they kill the cells, and so you don't have those cells anymore. So your heart just doesn't work as well anymore. And that's not reversible in the sense of reversible, but you can retrain the heart and get that heart to be functional again. But with diabetic cardiomyopathy, if you go on the program and become insulin sensitive, drop your insulin levels down so that you can burn fat for energy, then you're adding a lot more energy into the heart cells, and all of a sudden they're functioning fully again and everything's working. So that's reversible. That's a good thing.
So if someone was, going to a traditional medical doctor and they're recognizing that this may be what's going on, what is their typical recommendation in this case?
Uh, I hate to say it. It's to put them on a beta blocker. The beta blocker slows down the heart because they only have a certain amount each time they pump, and so it's pumping faster than usual, and then they go into atrial fibrillation, or because it's not pumping, they're not working together. So then what the cardiologist does, puts them on a beta blocker, and the beta blocker slows it down so it doesn't pump as fast. But that's actually, it's temporarily very functional, and it causes things to function better in that sense because they don't fill up their lungs with fluid as fast. However, it's kind of like if you're really weak, and instead of going to physical therapy, you go sit on the couch because you're weak, and you go, "Ah, I just feel better sitting on the couch." Yeah, and it's true, you will feel better, but your heart will get gradually more weaker and more weaker. No, will gradually get weaker and weaker. And so it's not a good idea. It's not a long-term solution at all. It's really just a short-term solution.
Okay. Lots of questions are coming in here. Let me just see here. Anything specifically to this? Um, okay. Iman said my blood sugar is up and down from high of 122 after drinking OJ. That'll do it. To a low of 102. Started taking berberine. I'm trying to get below 99. Thoughts?
Okay. Avoid orange juice. Avoid any kind of juice. Juice is really not a diabetic food.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it would be a good idea to help you with that and to make that function well is to do the diabetes solution kit. Just go through the kit. Start with page one. Fill out the forms. What is your why? And do all the parts of it, and go into the phase one and start with phase one, and you'll be amazed at how things will come down to normal.
Yes. And if you aren't sure what the kit is or where to get that, you can go to bartonwebinar.com. You're going to find links to a lot of things, but you'll see the diabetes solution kit there. Use code webinar25. I'm going to post that in the chat, but it's one word, webinar25, and you'll save 25% on anything there. We had another question from somebody who wanted to purchase an Acroma, but finances are a little bit tight. And I just want to let you know that Synachroma is wonderful, but the real magic, if you're trying to get your blood sugar numbers down, is going to happen with the diabetes solution kit. So start there. Your food matters, and what you're putting into your body that way really will be the most important thing that you can do. Okay. So let's see. What other questions do we have here? Rosaria says, what can you do to stop your body to dehydrate if you're on, I think, glipizide and Jardiance to lower your blood sugar type 2 diabetes? So what can you do to stop your body from
Dehy-
dehydrating?
yeah, prevent dehydration. Okay, so diabetes by itself, when your blood sugar is high, you tend to pee out more. Jardiance will also do that, and glipizide causes you to make more insulin. So you know what? I just think that if you would go on phase one of the program, then you wouldn't need those medications because they're going to cause insulin resistance and dehydration. So, see, remember, just what we discussed, like with cardiomyopathy, the problem is not that the blood sugar is too high. The problem is that there's insulin resistance. So, if you get the insulin resistance down, well, the process of doing that, your blood sugar is going to go down. So, it's not that they're completely dissociated,
Yeah.
but I've had a lot of people who have perfectly normal blood glucose. Their hemoglobin A1C is 5.0, and they still have insulin resistance. So the problem is not the glucose, it's the insulin resistance. So do phase one of the program, and that's going to be the best thing you can do.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good question here from Allison. Welcome back, Allison. In your opinion, is shrimp a good complete protein to eat, or are shrimp toxic from the ocean?
uh, the answer is both. they're, they're a really good protein. And they have other things in them. Yeah, shrimp are fine as far as food goes, but they are toxic from the ocean. They do have. Um, I think a shrimp also have mercury in them. So I don't know. There's no easy answer to this, right? You eat the vegetables, and they've make sure you have organic vegetables. But even then, they're spraying organic vegetables these days with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Just do the best you can.
Maybe throw in
But
some fasting.
but shrimp's okay periodically. I mean, you don't live on it, but
Yeah.
if you eat it periodically, it's good.
Welcome, Vicky from Florida, watching on YouTube. And Diane said, should I continue to take metformin along with synochroma and berberine?
Okay, if you can get off metformin, that's a good idea. So talk to your doctor, get off metformin, because if your blood sugars can be close to normal or close to okay, it's better not to be on metformin so that you can build muscle. Metformin actually blocks you from increasing your muscle strength. So
Mm.
in order to build the muscle so that you can have better insulin sensitivity, it'd be a good idea to get off metformin.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Elliot says my doctor recommended a CPAP today. Did a sleep study and sleep interrupted 28 times per hour. Ugh. Recommended I lose up to 40 pounds. Any idea? He did recommend Zepbound to my PCP.
Okay, so this is a really good point. So remember, we talked about stress causing the insulin resistance. What is one of the things that stresses the body most? Is lack of sleep. If you have sleep apnea, that's a big deal. That's like really important for diabetes. Yes, weight by itself, losing weight is helpful. So, what I would recommend is get on phase one of the program. And yeah, if you were to lose 40 pounds, then you wouldn't need the sleep apnea, the CPAP machine. You wouldn't have sleep apnea, so you wouldn't need the CPAP machine. Um, I don't recommend the Zepbound injections because it's not a good long-term solution. It actually makes you more insulin resistant in the long run. It's so much better to go on phase one of the diabetes solution kit.
Okay. We were talking about juices and how probably you would not want to recommend juice for people who are trying to lower their blood sugar. But we did get a couple questions from both Denise and Catherine. What about vegetable juice?
Okay, fine. You got me there. Vegetable juices generally don't have very much sugar, hardly any at all. V8 is one that was asked about vegetable juice, and that's fine. It's generally fine for people with diabetes. Some people juice their own vegetables. Somebody asked me about that recently, having 16 ounces of celery juice in the morning. That's great. Yeah, no problem. You're going to get a lot of potassium from that. You get a lot of soluble fiber from vegetable juices, and they don't have sugar in them. So, yeah, they're
Yeah.
fine.
And think about that too. If you're doing the diabetes solution kit, you're counting your carbs, right? So I actually just looked up V8. V8 says it has 10 grams of carbs and two dietary fibers. So you're going to subtract those two to get your net carbs. Okay, so that means per 8-ounce glass of V8, you're still getting 8 net carbs. So choose your carbs wisely, I would just say in that as well. Now, there might be other brands that actually, you know what? This wasn't V8, this was an off brand. So just check your carbs too, because there might be some other strange things that are added into your vegetable juice. You never
Like
know what you're
sugar.
going to find. You never know what you're going to find. So just check those. Let me see here. And I love vegetable juice. Boy, if we could juice it ourselves, that'd be even better. Okay. Next question here. Rayanne, welcome back. I just wanted to update you on my latest blood work. Okay, give me 1 second here. 1 second, Rayanne. I got to clear these out so I can see this. All right. Everything was in the green, except my A1C still needs some work, but not much. And I want to just mention this. The A1C is basically an average of where it's been. So if you're taking it, say you get your A1C checked yesterday, what does that tell you, Dr. Saunders? Or today?
Yeah, that tells you that over the previous 3 months, your average blood glucose over the previous 3 months, and they'll even give you an estimate of it. So if you're
Okay.
5.1, then your average blood glucose is about 100, um, and
Okay.
and that's kind of ideal.
Okay. So, Rand said it was 6, down from 12.1 2 years ago. I also think I finally fixed my insulin resistance, as this week my 3-day average for the entire day was 104. Yesterday, I ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner with pasta, and my blood sugar range was 97 to 125 for the day. I'm seeing some really good results lately. Dr. Saunders saved my life. Thank you.
I don't know about that. uh,
Nope, he did. It's okay, Dr. Saunders. Don't be humble here. Don't be humble. Rayanne's been around for a while. You ask good questions too, and we appreciate you doing that. So, I love that. Thank you for that feedback. If others on here have feedback and want to share some stuff too, we'd love to hear from you. Nancy says, how does phase one of the diabetes solution relate to the committed coaches program? Ooh, I can answer that one probably too.
Yeah.
I get to talk with a lot of people at the end of their coaching journey. And so, if you decide that, going in, committed coaches offers a couple different options for you, depends on what you want to do. Now, Dr. Saunders has told you there are many ways to get rid of type 2 diabetes. Our diabetes solution kit is not the only option there is, right? There are some other ways through good eating programs as well that will work. Ours is just probably the most simple, I would say. So if that's something you want to do, the committed coaches team can help you with that. They can help you to really follow along on that, do more of a low carb type of plan. If you decide, I want to be able to add in, a little bit more balanced diet, they'll navigate that with you as well. So there are options for you. Reach out to them. And if you need that link again, let us know. But that's definitely available to you and they'll work with you on that. Okay. The thing that I like about committed coaches and also even our Facebook group, if you're not a part of that, be a part of that, is that you have a community. You have, like, these webinars are great and you're getting tons of information, right? But imagine having somebody there to walk with you step by step as you go through this. Because Dr. Saunders he can only see so many people a day, right? And so this is just another opportunity to have accountability with someone to oversee what you're doing, give you encouragement, help you to make adjustments as you need, that kind of thing. Tom says, I am just off all of my diabetes medicine. I've been waking up at 110 blood sugar, but I go out and exercise or walk and my number goes to 170 or 180. I'm under 30 carbs a day. I've been trying to fast and not eat till noon, but should I eat instead? I also take a thyroid medication first thing in the morning. Any suggestions? Should I eat something in the morning before exercise? Good question.
Okay. So the question of eating before you exercise, no, no, not necessarily. The fact that your blood sugar, glucose goes up while you're exercising, that's perfectly normal, and that's what's expected. It is an indication that you still have insulin resistance, and so you need to have more blood glucose to get it into the muscle cells as you're exercising. And so as you do the program more, you'll find more insulin sensitivity, and so you will bring in the glucose into your muscle cells faster, and your blood glucose won't go up as much. So that's perfectly fine. So this is an effect. It's a normal effect because your body, your liver will make glucose when you're exercising, and that's normal. Everybody does that, but everybody doesn't have type 2 diabetes to where it goes up because of insulin resistance. So that's why that's still an issue. So the better thing is that's an indicator that, oh, I need to become more insulin sensitive. So how do you do that? Exercising is a great idea. That's something that will help a lot. The other thing is doing phase one of the program. So if you're doing phase one, then you're going to be eating less than 20 grams. So it seems like 30 grams may be a little too high for you. Eat less than 20 grams, and then you'll become more insulin sensitive, and you'll notice that you won't have those spikes anymore when you exercise.
All right. I love this. Diddy said, thank you. I do juice grapefruits from my tree, but no longer drink it. Hubby drinks it. That would be tough, but good job. You're doing
That
it.
would be tough. I think I would drink it.
It would be very tough. Yes. Okay. All right, I got that one. Jerry says if taking vegetable juice, coffee, or water, which is better, ice cold drinks or room temperature drinks?
Okay. I don't know. Lately, I prefer room temperature drinks, except when it's really hot. I like an ice cold drink. So I've seen like research on both, and people get more easily dehydrated when they're drinking ice cold drinks than with room temperature drinks.
Mm.
And that there's an interesting reason why that is. because the coldness of the water or whatever you're drinking um, goes to the back of your mouth. It cools off your brain. That's what the brain freezes, and at where the brainstem is, and it stops your thirst mechanism. So that's why people they just drink a few sips of an ice cold drink, and they're like, "Wow, I'm not thirsty anymore." And so they can become more dehydrated. So lately, I've been doing mostly room temperature. If I don't put ice in the water, unless it's really hot, then I'll drink some ice water.
Yeah. Okay. Randy says, I've cut my metformin regimen in half. Because of Bart Nutrition and Dr. Scott Saunders, my glucose went from 496 and is now nicely sitting around 75 to 100. So thank you, Joe and Dr. Scott Saunders. Wow.
Wow. So 75 to 100 is that's a normal blood glucose. Very good. From 496. Dang, that's really good. Good work.
That's a big deal. Awesome. Okay. Next, we have Rayanne. Does drinking coffee affect cortisol levels? I gave up coffee this week and it seems to be helping.
Yes. Drinking coffee does affect cortisol levels. Coffee is something that is highly controversial because a lot of people like coffee, and but it does bother some people. So not everybody has the same effect from coffee. It's kind of interesting the way it works in the brain. There's something called adenosine that builds up, and as you're using energy in the brain, it's kind of like the waste product. You have someone on a construction site. They're building, and they're cutting off pieces of wood, and they're stacking, and they're putting the building up, and they're throwing out all these pieces of wood. Well, something's got to go clean up all those scraps that are all over the place. And so this adenosine in the brain is scraps, and there's receptors for them. And as the scraps build up, the adenosine builds up in the brain. Then the receptors go, oh, there's a lot of adenosine here. We got to shut down and clean up. And sleep is your opportunity to shut down and clean up. So if you drink coffee, the caffeine in the coffee blocks those adenosine receptors, so it can't tell you when your brain is filled up with junk, this excess adenosine in the brain. And so you don't know that it's time to sleep and clean up your brain. That's kind of the way it works. And so you'd think, oh, then you're not going to get enough sleep. Well, some people, it affects their sleep. Some people have one cup of coffee in the morning and they can't sleep that night because the caffeine will affect them more. Other people can drink two espressos before they go to bed, drink them and go right to bed and sleep all night. Why? Because they don't have a strong sleep. There's other reasons for sleep. That's not the only reason for sleep. So their mechanism of these receptors for adenosine, it's not a big deal for them. So it just caffeine doesn't make a difference. So the way to think about caffeine is how does it affect you? If it doesn't affect you much, then it doesn't affect you much. There are people with like attention deficit disorder that they drink coffee and it's like, wow, I can function like normal. I can think clearly. This is really good. And other people, they drink coffee and they're like wired and I can't function because I'm so wired. So, it affects you that way, then avoid it. It affects you the other way, then wow, great. But okay, so then let's look at like the big picture. So I just a couple of days ago I was looking at this. Coffee, if 4 cups of coffee a day, there was a big study done. This is a big study, hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know, I forgot, like 1 million person years that they followed people over time, and they looked at their coffee drinking. So they had the cutoff was 4 cups. So if you drank more than 4 cups versus less than 4 cups, more than 4 cups was associated with greater mortality, like you were more likely to die, right? In that the period of time that they had. But when they took out the likelihood of dying for other reasons, like smoking and drinking alcohol, because people who drink coffee are more likely to also smoke and drink alcohol. So when they took that out, the coffee by itself seemed to actually improve your length of life and make you less likely to die in that period of time. So, of all the research that's been done, that was one of the bigger studies. And there's a lot of smaller studies that were done, and it goes all over the place. So, coffee probably isn't the issue. It's probably not like going to shorten your life, for example, if you like coffee. So really, just to look at it is, does it affect me this way? Does it affect me that way?
Yeah.
That's all.
And we talked last week too. There's various quality coffees out there. I mean, we were talking, I think that was just last week, about Danger Coffee, Dave Asprey's coffee, which I think is low acid and all of that kind of stuff. So you can probably get coffee that isn't great for you and coffee that is good for you. So keep that in mind too. Well, as good for you as, it is for your personal body, I guess.
Yeah.
And there was another question here about coffee. Oh, Sib said, I'm 68-year-old. I stopped drinking coffee 5 weeks ago, and my blood pressure has been normal for the last month.
Oh, I didn't even mention that. Yeah, coffee does tend to raise your blood pressure for the same reason. It's the cortisol thing.
All right. Good for you, guys. Look at all these people quitting their, wait, they didn't say they're stopping caffeine. So are you
Yeah.
using something else? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah.
But good job. It's tough to do things like that, especially if you've been drinking coffee for a long time. So nice work. Look at all this mental toughness. I'm reading a book on mental toughness right now, so this is good. All right. And Sib said she's sleeping much better. Um, I do not drink. Shoot, it scrolled and I lost it. All right, Sib, where are you here? Yes, and I'm sleeping much better. I do not drink or smoke and normally drink only 1 cup per day. Okay. All right. That's good.
Good.
Juliana says today I juiced purple cabbage. Oh, what is this?
Chayote. Chayote.
Coyote. Okay. Yeah, asparagus, kiwi, green apples, beetroots, celery, ginger, and lemon. What do you think about this juice?
I think it'd be great. I don't have a problem with that. The apples are going to add some sugar. The beetroots are going to add some sugar, a tiny bit from the lemon. Um, Probably, I wouldn't say that's a problem at all. But one
And
of the things
kiwi.
you can, what, yeah, kiwi. One of the things you can do is to get a continuous glucose monitor and put it on, and then just follow it over time. And if you make that juice and you say, gosh, every time I make that juice, my blood sugar just shoots up. Then you go, oh, then that's maybe not a good thing.
Right. Okay. Anonymous said, is oatmeal or oats helpful to lower LDL? I've heard differing opinions.
Okay, so there's fiber in oats that is a soluble fiber that does help to lower LDL. But it's not exclusive by any means. So really, if you're eating a lot of fruit and vegetables, then you're going to get fiber that lowers LDL. Um, but let's then disabuse you of that idea that LDL is a problem. LDL is not a problem. It isn't even something you should follow. If you look at like all of the things that cause heart disease, LDL is like number 43 on the list. It's like, don't even bother with that. There are so many important things to look at. You could look at your uric acid. I'm actually writing an article on uric acid. You can look at your insulin resistance index is really those are so much more important. Clotting factors are more important. And we talk about that in the heart disease solution kit, the
Um, Healthy
healthy
Heart.
heart
Yep.
solution
Healthy
kit.
Heart Solution
Yeah.
Kit. Yep. Okay, I want to read this from Nancy. Nancy said, I have been using committed coaches since early May, and I've had some major wins in the past 3 months, including hemoglobin A1C dropping from 6.9 at the end of February to 5.9 at the end of June, and a loss of almost 30 pounds since the end of February. My hemoglobin A1C was nearly 12 just 2 years ago. The support and the accountability of committed coaches has been key. If I lose at least another 10 pounds, they will redo my sleep study to see if I can eliminate being on a machine. I've also eliminated 2 meds totally, had my blood pressure meds cut in half, and been switched from Synthroid to NP thyroid. That's awesome.
Wow.
That
Wow.
is
Good
awesome.
work. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, Nancy, did you do more of a keto plan or are you doing a balance plan? Just curious. And it looks like maybe your coach is Drew. Let me know that because he's awesome. I really like him. Okay, Rayanne says I do unsweetened iced tea sometimes. What do you think about that?
Okay. Well, it's kind of like the coffee, and it's good that it's unsweetened because sweet tea is so full of sugar.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
tastes real good too. One
Of
time
course.
I remember like 10 years ago, I made sweet tea and I used like a bag of stevia, and you pretty much had to use that whole bag just to get what sweet tea, how much sugar sweet tea had in it. Couldn't believe it. Um, and one of my jobs in high school was at the Cracker Barrel, by the way, and we made tea, sweet tea there. So I know how much sugar was poured in it. I still am traumatized by it. If you guys, oh my gosh. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But man, it was good. Okay. Sib says I'm drinking ginger and turmeric tea.
Huh.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. If it doesn't have sweetener in it, I like ginger turmeric with licorice in it because licorice kind of just gives it a sweetened flavor.
Mm,
And it's just I don't know. I like it better.
yeah.
But yeah, ginger turmeric is a great combination.
Okay. All right. Elliot said, which milk is best? Whole 2% or 1% for pre-diabetics?
Okay, so pre-diabetes. Okay, so milk is okay. Milk does have some sugar in it. So when you're doing phase one of the program, you look at how much sugar is in the milk, and then depending on how much milk you're drinking, and you count that on your 20 grams of carbohydrates. So it's not that the fat content has a lot to do with it. We're not measuring fat in this program. We're really just measuring the sugar part. And yes, milk does have sugar in it. So the whole milk 2%, 1%, that's all based on the fat. And to tell you the truth, I prefer the whole milk, and that's what I usually buy. I get raw whole milk occasionally, and I don't buy it very often. It's like $20 a gallon or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Rayanne says, does lemon water with LMNT minerals with apple cider vinegar added to water in the morning help with blood sugar?
Okay, so lemon, LMNT is a packet um, of electrolytes. It's an electrolyte solution, and the issue that I have with it is the sweeteners that are in it. Yeah, they're non-caloric technically, but people do get insulin spikes from sweeteners of any kind. So I think the lemon water, apple cider vinegar. I think people that drink lemon water in the morning is a great idea. And I remember the Huberman podcast. I was watching him, and he was saying, every morning he does his lemon, LMNT, water because he wants to make sure he has enough hydration for his brain to work. So I know a lot of people do that, but if you have type 2, you may find that that will block you from becoming insulin sensitive.
Mhm. All right. Okay, unsweetened decaf tea, good for you. Okay, we just talked about that.
Yeah, well, green tea
Oh,
is
green
okay.
tea. Yeah.
Yeah, green tea has other things in it, like EGCG. So yeah, it's fine. That's good for you.
Okay. Roseanne on YouTube said, I've been hearing about stem cell regeneration for joint pain in knees, ankles, etc. Would an injection interfere with diabetes reversal?
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, you should know something. If you're going to spend a whole bunch of money on doing that kind of thing, then you should know that in order for those stem cells to work, you have to be in anabolic mode. If you're in catabolic mode, the stem cells are not going to work, and so that's why there's such a big difference between like one group. They show how the stem cells can totally regenerate a knee. They can totally regenerate heart. That they actually did this in dogs, where they pinched off a artery of the heart until the heart muscles all died. And then they injected stem cells into that artery and regrew a new heart. And it was like a fully beating, like a normal heart. And it wasn't like, an old heart. It was like brand spanking new newborn baby heart. It was really good. So stem cells, you have this research that is it absolutely works amazingly and then absolutely does not work. And my experience with people, I had somebody go to Panama, I think it was, spent $20,000 and didn't have any good results at all. So I asked the question why. So if you're going to have stem cell uh, treatments of any kind, make sure you're in anabolic mode when you have the stem cell injections. What does that mean? Well, generally that means at night, before you go to bed, you get the hormones called human growth hormone, ghrelin. You have to have an empty stomach. And then you get a spike of human growth hormone that activates the cells so that they can do something. And then you have the cells injected directly into the tissue that you want to regenerate. So when it's injected directly into a joint, it has more of a chance of working if you're in anabolic mode. So catabolic mode, that's the daytime mode. So you don't have it done in the morning because you have a bunch of cortisol. Cortisol kills stem cells. Okay, I'm not talking about like just inactivated. It kills them. So you can't do that when you have high cortisol. You can't do it in the morning. So be very careful of how stem cells are done because you could spend a whole lot of money and just might as well be injecting saline or water.
Wow. Okay. All right, Nancy, I'm doing the basic plan and we'll be moving to the Ascension plan in the next couple of weeks. Awesome. Good for you, Nancy. Okay, so we talked about that one. Judy says I'm on metformin and insulin and levothyroxine daily. If I want to exercise and want to fast for 3 days and exercise while fasting, I would think that I should stop the metformin during the fast. Do you know how long metformin is retained in the body? Will the metformin continually damage my muscles and joints? Also, do metformin and insulin interfere with my absorption of my thyroid medicine? I was told estradiol does.
Okay, so yeah, estradiol does. So the thyroid medication, you just keep taking the thyroid. Of course, you're not going to be using insulin if you're not eating, right? Because that wouldn't be a good idea. But I should think that just fasting while you're on these medications is not necessarily the best idea. I think while I think fasting is great for everything, I would get off the medications first, and so work with your doctor. Start on phase one of the program. Do phase one. Get the diabetes solution kit. Do phase one, and then uh, get off the medications and then consider fasting because of the changes that can happen in both the insulin, the sugar, electrolytes. When you're injecting insulin, then there's some long-acting effects there. The metformin isn't anything to worry about long-acting effects. The day you stop, forget it, it's gone. So you don't have to worry about metformin being a long-term problem. But when you have high levels of insulin, when you're injecting insulin, you have high levels of insulin and you drop those down. You also change the ability for the cells to get potassium into them. So it changes the electrolyte balance and the energy potential for your cells. So it's not that simple that just stop everything and fast. I think it would be better to do phase one of the program, get off the medications, and then do a fast.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sim says, is 100% organic, unsweetened coconut milk good for you? Last week I started to drink a cup with my granola cereal in the mornings.
Yeah, I've looked into coconut milk. I tend to use it. I prefer it to any other of the other milks, the oat milk, almond milk, all those things. I prefer coconut milk, and it has the sweet flavor from the oils in it, and it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. And the coconut oils tend to be better for you than the seed oils, like almond oil. The oils in the almond, when you're putting a whole bunch of almonds to make almond milk, it does have the fats in it, and the fats tend to be omega-6. They're really high in omega-6, which is a potential problem. Whereas the coconut is very low in omega-6, but doesn't have any omega-3. But it has some saturated fat and a little bit of monounsaturated fat. So yeah, coconut oil is fine.
Okay. All right.
Or coconut
Question.
milk, I'm sorry. That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, the coconut milks can come in a can. That'll be coconut milk, or you can get the cartons that look like actual milk cartons. So there's just various forms. The ones that you're getting in the milk cartons may have some things added to it, so just check those out, see what's in there. You just never know. Um, Dan said I've reversed my diabetes and kept my A1C has been under 5 for 2 years. The last 2 months it's been high for me, and I haven't changed anything in my diet. Can't figure it out.
Huh. So you reversed your diabetes.
And kept it below
Um,
5 for 2 years.
it your A1C is under 5 for 2 years. That means you don't have diabetes. That is under 5 is 4 point something, 4.5, 4.8. That means your average blood glucose is like 70 or less. Um, and for the last 2 months, it's been high. I haven't changed anything. Let's see. Okay, so think about other possibilities. Why would it be high if your diet hasn't changed? Well, has your exercise changed? Has your stress level changed? Remember, stress raises blood sugar even when you haven't changed your diet at all. So stress makes you insulin resistant even when you don't have insulin resistance. So I think the next step would be to test. So test your glucose A1C, but also look at C-peptide and uh, and insulin level. So your C-peptide and insulin level will tell you whether have really high insulin. So I had somebody just yesterday who had really high insulin levels, and his hemoglobin A1C was 4.8. 4.8 is great. That's like no diabetes at all. But the insulin level, the C-peptide was 3.5, which is really high on a fasting specimen. He had a lot of insulin to keep his blood sugar low. So that's why you have to know if that insulin resistance is there. So you have to do the four tests: the glucose, hemoglobin A1C, C-peptide, and insulin level. And then if you're thinking about stress and all that, I would add a cortisol DHEA to test your adrenal glands at the same time.
Okay, that's it
That's
for
six
today.
six tests.
All right.
But
Thank you so much, Dr. Saunders. See you
okay.
next week. Thank all of you for being here as well. We'll see you all next week. If you have a friend who wants to be able to watch this, head to bartonwebinar.com. They can register for this webinar there. They'll get their own link and their own reminders so that they can watch this on